So I was watching a video earlier and they was talking about pick me moms. And pretty much they were just saying like, these are the moms that will put their children in almost uncomfortable situations just for the sake of having a man, right? And it got me to thinking. There's always a lot of discourse, especially on the internet, about single moms. And one of the red flags for me personally will always be a man that comes at you as if he's doing you a favor by dating you because you have children. I will never, ever, ever subscribe to the idea that once a woman has children, that she is damaged goods. That's bullshit. Especially when, the child-free women get judged just as much, right? As somebody that dates both genders, if I date anyone with children, I'm going to look at what is your relationship with these children. I don't even judge the relationship with the co-parent because we know people get hurt, they be bitter, it's some bullshit. Now, I personally can't do the drama, so if you guys don't have a copacetic situation, I can't do that, right? But more so like, are you still tripped up on this person? Do you still talk about this person? It does every single time y'all get on the phone, it's more about what y'all did to each other instead of these babies. Those would be the red flags for me, right? If you are, as a single parent, like how much of your time is devoted to your children? How much of your energy is devoted to your children? I always say that for me personally, I don't go out looking for a stepdad for my children, right? They have a father. Those relationships can be built with time. I'm looking for someone that is good for me because somebody that is good for me will be good for them. I'm not looking for someone to come in and save us and sweep us off of our feet and play stepdaddy. And I feel like a lot of situations where children are harmed is because the parent that is dating or that has attached themselves to somebody, number one, we know a lot of the time they don't take the time to get to know each other really and truly, right? But a lot of the time they're operating and dating from a place of lack. So they have subscribed to, my options are slim because I'm a single parent. That's not true. And so then, things start to feel good and they're trying to make this puzzle piece fit that doesn't fit. And now you've moved your kids in with this person. You've moved this person into your house. And you got people that you've given this very important title to that did nothing to earn said title. And now they're treating you like they're doing you a favor by being there. And that is how kids end up mistreated. That's how kids end up traumatized. You don't even fully and truly know this man or this woman, but you're trusting them around your children. No. Like, one of the things that has scared me out of dating was the idea of like, I thought my picker was broken. So I was like, if I can't trust me to choose right, I'd rather not choose at all because I don't want my kids in danger. And I had to realize, through therapy and stuff like that, that was just me speaking from my trauma. I told you guys I had an evil stepmom, et cetera, et cetera. But when I started to really dig in and do the work, that is when I realized that, of course, I desire a partner, right? But the partner that is for me will always consider my children. That doesn't mean that I'm expecting a man, like I said, to come in and financially take care of everything and come sweep us. We don't need to be saved. Mommy got it, right? And I also say too, like, yes, when you share a household with someone, those bills get put together, things like that. But even when it came to like my oldest son, when I got with my little kid's father, he came with one and I came with one. And yes, he did help, but it was never required of him. It was never expected of him. Like, I got my kid financially, right? When he wanted to do things, he would do things. And he didn't just neglect my son. You know what I mean? He was never like, oh, this ain't my kid. If I did ever need help, he was there to help. But I have always operated from, these are my kids. Even now that, I have my 3, these are my kids. Anything anyone does for my children, is extra. But if you come into my life thinking that you're doing me a favor by dating me because I have children, you're not the person that I need in my space, because you're probably abusive. Most of the people, like I said, people, because I had an evil stepmom. So we know it's not just the men. But most of the people that act like that are the people that will mistreat your children. And a lot of the time, you be so in denial and wanting to prove a point because you know that this decision was made in haste and kind of low-key irresponsibly, that now you're trying to make things fit where they don't fit. You're trying to make the relationship work knowing that this is not for you and your babies. Look at all of these stories of these women that be like, oh, we dated, and then after 6 months we moved in, and then he started beating on me. And then the kids are seeing all of this. Or I personally don't even feel like that's enough time for a child to adjust. So there's that. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of problems would be solved if you would just go and heal first. And this is coming from somebody that has had to do the work. A lot of problems would be solved if you would go and work on you instead of trying to attach to another person. Yes, I understand it get lonely. Yes, I understand you be wanting to get touched in the parts. I totally get it. And if you want to do that shit away from them babies. I did not learn until I got older that my mother was as male-centered as she was. You know why? Because she didn't have a lot of men around us. I'm 35 years old, and I've only seen my mom with 4 or 5 different men. Yeah. And that's not including my father, because they literally got married and divorced within a year. But that was one thing that my mother didn't play. Regardless of how shitty of a person she is, she did not play the different men around her children. I honestly, to keep it a buck with you, I didn't start even hearing about my mom dating until I became an adult. I had one stepdad when I was a child. One. And he was the only man, my sister's dad, but he wasn't around long. But like, my fondest memory of someone being around like long term was my first stepdad. I didn't hear anything. Once they got separated, I heard nothing else of a man again until I was grown. Like, I moved back home at 18, and she had been in a long-term relationship by then. And he was sweet as pie. But, I said it to say, like, you do what you do outside. But please, for the love of God, keep that shit away from your babies.